Welcome to the Bookology podcast. I'm your co-host, Jonathan Jones, here with my father, the Dr. Fred Jones, aka the Bookologist. Dad, top of the day to you.
Yes, sir. It's a
How are
beautiful
we
day.
doing?
How am I doing? If I told you the truth, you might think I was bragging a little bit.
Oh man, don't brag to us, Dad. Don't brag.
No, I'm not going to brag. I'm just going to tell you the facts. Hey, Don, today is the best day of my life.
Well, if you're alive, then that should be. It should
Nah,
be.
not necessarily.
You said not necessarily.
No, just because you're alive don't mean that people see uh, every day is the best day of their life. That's a mindset, man. Some people say, oh, today was a bad day. Oh, I got this to do and I got that to do. Oh, why don't they do this? Why can't I get out of this house? Why can't they complaining?
Mm.
If they were in a
So
casket, they wouldn't be complaining.
that's true. So what I'm hearing you say is what I hear you over there talking about. You talking about perspective. Is that right?
Absolutely. Put it in perspective. It's a great day, sir. All is well.
There we go. It's all about perspective. So I I wanted to tell you something today, Dad. I feel a little exhausted.
Exhausted. Tell me about it.
I feel a little exhausted, and I feel like throwing in the towel. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, this is something that I've seen people do with podcasts. I've seen people do it with businesses, but one thing I've seen here more so recently um, is is seeing people talk about throwing in the towel. Yeah, when they have the potential on writing a best-selling book. Let's talk about it, Dad.
Well, publishing a best-selling book is easier than it's ever been before. And I think it was Desmond Landers who said, you don't ever want to throw in a towel because you never know how close you were to accomplishing your goal. The
Mm.
next step could have been that breakthrough that you've been longing for. So throwing in the towel is not something that I am very comfortable with. I don't like throwing in the towel on nothing. You know what I mean? I
Uh,
don't believe in that.
why is that? Why how did you develop that level of understanding?
Uh, um, how did I develop that level of understanding?
Mhm.
John, I've shared with you many times that I've shared with you many times how I took the bar exam. I took the bar exam one time and failed. Let's talk about it. I took the bar exam two times and failed. And when I would be failing, I would get those letters in the mail. Dear Mr. Jones, we regret to inform you. I get, dear Mr. Jones, we regret to inform you. And we had done this so many times that what would happen is this. I knew that if the letter was thin, I had passed. But I knew if it was thick, it was a failure letter. I
Uh,
failed the bar exam three times, dear Mr. Jones. Four, dear Mr. Jones. By now, John, you was a little boy, Freddie, y'all about 5 or 6 years old, maybe seven, I don't know. We were living on Evangelist Street, and I had gone through your mom and I was going through a divorce at the time, back in the 90s. And we didn't have even food in the house when I was taking that bar exam. I remember a buddy of mine came to the house one day and threw food in the house. We're talking about being exhausted, right? Is that what we're
exhausted.
talking
Yes,
about?
sir. Mhm.
All right,
Mhm.
okay. And we're talking about why a writer should never give up on becoming a best-selling author, right?
Yes,
Why
sir.
you should know that you can publish a best-selling book. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit more. And so a buddy of mine, he came to the house and pulled in the driveway, said, little bro, open the door. And he threw in rice and food and so forth. We didn't have food to eat. It was cold. It was in the wintertime. I failed the bar exam 3 or 4 times. By now, I'm living off credit cards. I'm going back to mowing grass. I mean, I was just doing anything to keep a roof over our head. You and Freddie, we were sleeping in a house that was cold. We were sleeping in the bed to keep ourselves warm, and we kept warm from the fire from the stove in the kitchen because
Mhm.
we didn't have heat in the house. I mean, it was a tough situation. And on Evangelist Street, right there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And so he brought food that day. But one other day, while I was studying for the bar, I'm talking about don't quit. I'm talking about holding on. I was on
Mhm.
my way to the study group to study, and I was going to meet with my classmate Margaret. Margaret, God bless her, she's in heaven with the Lord now. And the engine blew up in my truck. And I'm like, oh God, I was trying to get to the study group to study because I'd been failing the bar. Now, Margaret had already told me, she said, you're going to sit your blankety blank down and you're going to pass this blankety blank bar exam. She had
Oh,
told me, she cussed me out in the name of Jesus, getting me ready to pass the bar exam.
mhm.
John, I never quit. I
Mhm.
never quit. So I want to go just a little bit longer on this one. Somebody need to hear this. And I'm talking to somebody right now that's listening to this podcast and they're saying, wow, I needed to hear this. So I didn't quit. Didn't have food, didn't quit. Didn't have a truck, didn't quit. Didn't have a way to stay warm in the house. I didn't quit. I kept on going. And it was the next day, it was time for me to go back to the bar exam. I didn't have a vehicle. My buddy showed up. He picked me up. He took me down to the bar exam, down to Baton Rouge at the Centralplex down there where we were taking the bar exam. The bar exam was a 3-day exam, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You write for 8 hours a day, handwritten bar exam. And
Mhm.
it was on that seventh round. That seventh round, I know people say the number of perfection. I felt like it was the number of pain. It was the seventh round, you know, that I managed to pass that bar exam. I
Mhm.
passed the bar exam 7 times. So I want to say this to all of those out there who are feeling exhausted. And then, John, we're gonna go into this interview. I'm gonna follow your script a little bit closer. But let me say this: when things go wrong, as they sometime will, when the road you're trotting seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have a sigh,
Mhm.
when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometime learn, and many a failure turn about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Wow.
Mhm.
John, do you want me to go on or is that enough? I can tell it's the anonymous poem when things go wrong. There are 2 more stanzas here. Talk
You
to
you
me.
you look like you itching to share 'em.
I'm itching to share. Yeah, let's get it on in here. Somebody needs to be encouraged. You know, people are often thinking about quitting. They want to quit on their marriage. They want to quit on their job. They want to quit on writing that best-selling book. They want to quit on publishing that book. People need encouragement. So let's give them a little bit more here.
Okay.
Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup.
Mm.
And he learned too late when the night came down how close he was to the golden crown. Oh, this is good. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint in the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It might be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. There you have it,
Wow.
sir. There you have it.
I want to say thank you for taking the time to share it. That was definitely I mean really encouraging to hear.
Hmm. Hmm.
But then on the other side of that, that paired with your actual story, um, I think I think that's like seeing the rainbow after it just rained. So
Hmm.
the clouds are moving and the sun is shining and now seeing the
Mhm.
rainbow. But just bringing it back full circle. There was a few things I extracted from hearing your story, and I want to
Mm.
just walk you back, and then let's unpack those a little bit. Because you know, Dad, you know, some people are like me. They like tangible application. Other people
Yes,
are
sir.
like, we want the hope. So when we pair the two together, that's when that's when we're really hitting on something heavy. So through your story, you said that there was a point in time where we were in the house and we were struggling to stay warm, and
Mhm,
and,
mhm,
and we were staying warm by the stove.
mhm, mhm,
And you talked about a friend coming to support you in this journey.
mhm.
So now we're gonna pivot from you being the individual who's facing adversity right now and wanting to throw in the towel, but we're gonna leave that space open for somebody else to put themselves in because they're currently right there. That that's community. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of community with somebody facing adversity and they're writing a book right now?
Isolation is the first step to annihilation. A banana never gets skint until it leaves the bunch.
Hmm.
Two are better than one, for if one falls, he has another to pick him up. There's no healing without community.
Hmm.
When writing is a solitary work, you do it alone. But if you want to publish a best selling book, if you want to publish a book that's going to live right the first time, that's going to work for you for a lifetime, then you want to do that in community. In community, you have accountability. In community, you have the basic resources. Someone else already to figure out what you're trying to figure out. So if you got basic resources you can draw from a community, you got accountability, you got basic resources, and the next thing you got in a community is a conversation. A good conversation at the right time can make all the difference in the world for your next step, because the counsel of the wise is sufficient. The counsel of the wise is helpful. So a community is going to help you with accountability. It's going to help you with conversation, and a community is going to help you deliver. It's going to help you get there in a better, at a faster way, other than you trying to do it on your own. Isolation is a no-no. You'll overthink it, and you'll talk yourself out of it when you try to do it all alone.
Yeah, that I definitely agree because you because I had a roommate in college and his mom would always say, "Study long, study wrong," and just in that, in that context, it's just processing through something and having the right answer, but then keep thinking about it, the right answer turns wrong.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh, so also another thing that I was able to extract from your story was you sharing. You were talking about persistence, um, and just in the persistence of that, I want to pair persistence with prayer.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Mm.
can you talk a little bit about the why there? Why were you so persistent when you kept showing up? Why were you so persistent when you received the third letter, the fourth letter, the fifth letter? Why? Talk a little bit about that.
When you know what you're called to, quitting is not an option. When you know what your purpose is, anything else is off the table. I remember saying when I was finishing law school, I said, I'm going to graduate from here. And I said, and I wasn't thinking in terms of violence or anything like this, but I said something very violent. I said this, that this they would have to blow this law school up before I will not graduate. I'm going to graduate without a doubt. I'm going to get out of here. Okay, this law school won't even exist if I don't graduate. Not that I was going to do anything. It's just I felt, John, when I was in law school, I had a theme. I'm too legit. MC Hammer. I'm too legit. I'm too legit to quit. I'm too legit. And John, I didn't deserve to be in law school. I made an F in English. I
Mm,
also did not have an LSAT. I did not have a law school admissions test score when I got admitted to law school. Didn't.
mm,
That's unheard of, sir. And just recently, I found out why that was. at a annual event that we held here a few months ago. I heard the chancellor talk that they was going through some changes in the university where they wanted to make law school more accessible to more people. I didn't know anything about that. That had to be the power of prayer. I didn't know that they had opened the floodgates and let anybody in. Well, had they held it tight, I wouldn't have made it because I was a C average student, and I wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I knew I got into law school. I wasn't going to get out of I wasn't going to quit. And I got through. Sure did. So I knew that, John, I went to law school to be a more effective minister. I wanted my law degree to support the ministry because I saw so many spiritual leaders who were leading people the wrong way, and they didn't have the knowledge base to help people make quality and right choices. And I just thought that a law degree would be something that would be beneficial to people in ministry.
Mm, mm. Wow. So hearing that is actually interesting when it comes to ministry, because would you say now this is a form of ministry for you, the way you help authors get out and share their stories and publish their books?
Yes, I definitely would say it. Now, let's differentiate ministry from industry.
Hmm.
In the industry, you get paid for a service. In ministry, in the industry, you get paid for a service, goods, services, and products. Okay, goods, services, and product. Okay, in the ministry, um, you are paid by God for your spiritual service of people. Okay. So
Mm,
oftentimes people get ministry and industry mixed up.
mm,
Ministry is strictly about the spiritual aspects of serving, and business is about the natural aspects of service. And if you'll keep those two separate, you will save yourself a lot of headache and a lot of stress. It's very important. So, do I see what I'm doing as a ministry? Absolutely. Your life informs your business. Your life is your ministry. And your ministry is how you serve others spiritually, giving honor and glory to God. In ministry, you're paid by God. In industry, you're paid by the people.
mm. I I think I think that's a great place to put a bow and a ribbon on it, with this episode, Dad, of the Bookology podcast. This episode, I think this might be one of our best, inspiring, uplifting, in addition to tangible content on this podcast here. I feel good about this one. I,
Awesome. Very good. Very good.
I feel good about this one. And if there's anyone out there who has been interested in working with you, Dad, what would be the best way for them to reach out or contact you? How would they go about doing that?
drfredjones.com, on my website, drfredjones.com. And then if you want to get to my intake application, drfredjones.com /bloom strategy. drfredjones.com /strategy. And that'll help you get on our application list.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for dropping that on us, Dad. And please share with the people your favorite quote, and we're gonna go ahead and get out of here for this episode of the Bookology podcast.
The most expensive thing you will ever pay is attention to the wrong people.